This talk focuses on the 2024 presidential election in Venezuela. It was hotly contested. The Electoral Council declared that Nicolas Maduro had been reelected, while the opposition claimed that Edmundo Gonzalez had been the winner. And you can see these two official-looking summaries, with the one on the left put out by the Electoral Council, with Maduro getting 51% of the vote. The one on the right put out by the opposition, with Maduro getting 29% of the vote. And the opposition claimed that there were about 2 million votes that had come in for Gonzalez that somehow had been shifted fraudulently to Maduro. So I'm going to talk about how this situation arose and how it was resolved. Here is the ballot that was used in the 2024 election. You can see that there were actually 10 candidates nominated by 38 political parties. Basically, each political party registered with the Electoral Council can nominate someone for president. And what happened was that 13 political parties nominated Maduro as their candidate. And you can see in the middle of this three pictures of Gonzalez. He was nominated by three political parties. You can see him, for example, as a candidate of the MPV party. But there were 10 candidates. So when the voter goes in, you can look and see what candidate was supported, nominated by the party that they belong to. Or, of course, the voter is free to vote for anybody in their political party or not. So on voting day, July 28, 2024, there were 15,797 polling stations. There were 30,026 voting machines. And the voting machines behind that cardboard screen there, the voter makes a choice in the machine, which stores the vote electronically. And the voting machine also prints out a paper ballot where the voter can verify the vote and put the paper ballot into a ballot box. And each station had two official observers. You can see them sitting there. One of those observers is from the government, and one of the observers, these are official observers certified from the opposition. So each one of those 30,026 voting machines, at the end of the day, when the election is over, prints out a very long document that is the machine tally sheet. This voting tally sheet has been cut in three, so we can display it here. But the observers then sign the voting tally sheet, says it's accurate, and we're given a copy. So there's 60,000 copies floating around, 30,000 with the opposition and 30,000 with the government. Also on voting day, the tally numbers were sent electronically to the Electoral Council in Caracas. And then they computed national totals. 54% of the ballot boxes were opened, and the paper ballot tallies verified the electronic tallies. So this was another check on the accuracy of the tallies. Now, Maduro was announced as the winner. So we get that first official document from the Electoral Council. Maduro got 51% of the vote, and Gonzalez got 44%, and those other 8 candidates got 5%, according to the Electoral Council. Well, what happened to the machine tally sheets? In past elections, the Electoral Council released those voting machine tally sheets publicly. They were posted. You could go down to your primary and your precinct and see what the tally sheet was for that machine. They were posted online. There was lots of documentation of the results. But in 2024, on election night, the Electoral Council claimed that the computer system had been hacked big time, and that it prevented them from printing the voting machine tallies. It was not possible for them to print out the tally sheets reproducing what they were provided in writing and to the observers. It was not possible for them to do that. But Maria Machado, the very next day, said that she had 23,000 of them. She claimed that her volunteers had gone out and collected 80% of those tally sheets overnight. and that the sheets, all 23,720 of them, had been scanned in, and the results had been totaled. And she posted the sheets online, and I think they were posted at the precincts as well. And what did they claim the tally sheet showed? They said that the tally sheet showed that Gonzales had won, and that the electoral council had committed massive fraud. So here you see the summary released by the opposition, where Maduro didn't get 51% of the vote. They claimed that he got 29%, and they claimed that there was a 2 million vote swing. Gonzales actually won 2 million more votes than the electoral council had given him. So they claimed massive fraud. Now, Maduro's campaign director said that they had looked at the tally sheets online and what they had posted, the opposition, and claimed that 85% of Machado's tally sheets were fake, that there were missing signatures, there was evidence of editing, there was evidence of forgery. So now we got two summaries by the Electoral Council, by the opposition, two claims of fraud from the opposition, and as well as from the government and Maduro's campaign manager. So how's this going to be sorted out? Well, on July 31st, Maduro went to the Supreme Court and petitioned the Supreme Court to review the election results. Maduro said that he had all 100% of the electoral tallies, all 30,000 were in their possession, and that they were willing to give those to the court. And the Supreme Court agreed to take the case, and the Supreme Court summoned all the candidates to appear at a hearing to testify and to provide evidence. So Maduro and 8 of the 9 opposition candidates testified on August the 2nd. And you see Maduro standing there and these other 8 opposition candidates standing there, and none of the 8 opposition candidates claim that fraud had occurred. The candidates were there testifying, and none of them claimed that any fraud had occurred. Now, the only opposition candidate not to show up was Edmundo Gonzales. He didn't appear at the Supreme Court hearing. He didn't send in any documents. You can see they had a chair for him sitting next to Maduro, where he could present all of those voting tally sheets that they claimed they had. But he didn't show up, and he didn't send any documents in. So what did the Supreme Court do? They certified Maduro as the winner. They had not received any evidence documenting fraud from any of the 8 opposition candidates who had come in to testify, and Gonzales hadn't presented any evidence. He didn't show up, and there was no narrative provided to the court or even in the press that said how it was done. If 2 million votes had been moved from Gonzales to Maduro, how was that done? And nobody's had provided a narrative, even to this day, of how they think or how they admit it was done. Now, there was a well-respected poll in September 2024 that showed that most people accepted the decision. 60% of the voters that were interviewed said that they rejected these claims of fraud. And 33% believed fraud had been committed, and 7% said they were uncertain or didn't answer the question. But the country had moved on. The majority of voters accepted the decision of the Electoral Council and the Supreme Court, and they'd moved on. Now, Gonzales also moved on. A warrant was issued for his arrest. He was accused of falsifying public documents. He was accused of falsifying those tally sheets. And they were going to look at those. They were going to look at those and document what had happened. But Gonzales took refuge in the Spanish embassy, and he negotiated with the government for safe passage to Spain. He was out of there. He wasn't going to deal with being arrested or having to answer any of these charges or provide any evidence. Now, why is this important? Well, the Machado narrative. We're 2 years later, and Machado is still out there. Here is an interview that she did on NPR in May of this year, and the statement is made over and over again. We won. We won that election. We proved it with 70% of the vote. Maduro's wasn't elected. Gonzalez was. Gonzalez is the rightful president, according to this narrative. And there's no pushback, or very little pushback on, well, was the election actually rigged in your favor or in their favor? Where is the evidence? Why wasn't evidence produced for the Supreme Court to look at? And so it's an unanswered accusation, an undocumented accusation at this point. So the Venezuela Reader has a blog that where we put up a summary sheet that documents all of the evidence that was used to put this talk together, and so it can be visited at the website.